From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, this is Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Riley Smith. In today's show, Mark tunes in to Senator Chuck Grassley's weekly ag conference call. I visit with Ryan Schnoes of Pioneer, and special correspondent Russ Parker wraps up his conversation with Justin Moritz of BASF. Now let's join in with our hosts, Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman.
Well, Dustin, as we start the show here today, at least in Des Moines, here in central Iowa at our offices of the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, we're getting some rainfall again, had some yesterday as well. And based on the timing of this rain, it could work out pretty nicely for farmers as long as, here's what Riley and I were saying, you want to replenish some of that soil moisture, of course, because we had such a dry winter. And that was really widespread along large portions of the country that grow row crops. But you want to get some of that soil moisture back, but you just don't want it to get too oversaturated that it slows things down for planting. So if we can get some of these nice rains here at the start of the month, and then hopefully things can open up with a little bit of a window, we could be setting up here nicely.
Yeah, that we could. I mean, just looking at since yesterday at around 4 o'clock, almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we got in Ankeny, where I'm at, we picked up about 23, 26, actually just under 3/10 of an inch. So just since yesterday afternoon. So yeah, the thing is, it's not a lot there. We had that, was it 9/10 we had, or a little over 3/4 of an inch, I know, on Monday night into Tuesday. But yeah, I mean, so you're looking at an inch and a third, right now in the last 3 days. And so, yeah, we can use it. Definitely can use it. And luckily it's not, I mean, Monday night was some stormy weather, but after that, I mean, you have a nice slow soaking rain. It does give the ground time to accept that water, and it's not being washed out. And my grass already looking greener just since Monday night, or since Monday. So definitely it's needed. So yeah, hopefully it's nothing that's going to keep us postponed too long from getting into the field where we need it. But I will take what we're getting right now.
And then, Dustin, as we think about everything that's happening in the ag marketplace, and yesterday, not the best day for the grains, but we started here today. We were all looking towards President Trump's speech last night, and it's going to be interesting to talk with Zach Hooker of Comstock here in just a little bit on the show to find out kind of his thoughts on last night's speech and how it affects the ag marketplace. But I would think that based on what we heard last night from the president, sounds like, we're going to get these conflicting messages about the war because neither side wants to say, their plans or what they're thinking about things in, grand strategy. But it could go where we're either looking at a shorter term escalation of the war, or we could go the other way. And all of a sudden, it sounds like things could be ramping down. But right now, the oil price, it seems like, is going to be leading the way in terms of what we see in the ag marketplace. And we know in this conflict so far, that has been the main driver when, a statement is made or a headline is made, the oil price kind of comes into focus.
Yeah, that it does. I mean, we were looking at that last night in the overnight session already. The market was prepared for President Trump to make it sound like a de-escalation was coming, and that's why we saw kind of the oil back off yesterday, and that allowed cattle to go higher because there's a lot of transportation issues with your livestock side of things. So that was good news there. But then when he finally made his formal announcement last night, it sounded like escalation is a possibility too, and now that sent oil higher, which has put pressure on the livestock throughout the morning. But again, the grains aren't following oil. And so it's kind of a topsy-turvy situation we're finding ourselves in. As you said, it's going to be interesting to find out as the day goes on. And of course, we'll have our midday markets and get another look at what's happening as the day has gone on here. But as you said, right now, we're going to get into those grains. Again, Zach Hooker of Comstock Investments joining Mark. Again, talk about what's happening with the corn and the soybeans here today. Mark?
Joined today by Zach Hooker of Comstock for the opening market discussion. Zach, what's happening with the trade in the grains?
Yeah, Mark, the grains posted a nice little turnaround from yesterday's sell-off overnight. We're currently trading a little bit off the highs there from early this morning. But May corn is currently sitting up 2 3/4 at $4.57. December corn sitting up 3 at $4.84 1/4. Wheat is sitting up. Let's see, we're currently sitting up anywhere from 5 to 7. Again, we've sold off just a little bit here in the last few minutes since the open, but still in the green, which we won't complain about. May soybeans are sitting up 3 at 11.71 1/2, and then November beans are up 4 3/4 at 11.60 1/4. Of course, a lot of this is just being driven by kind of getting pulled along by the crude oil futures. President Trump's address last night had kind of conflicted with some of the reporting earlier on in the week that made it seem like we may be coming to a resolution in Iran, now looking like things may escalate over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And the crude oil futures have just kind of gotten a fire lit underneath them with that news, and the grains are kind of just being pulled along with that. We're seeing lots of money movement here. The metals are down sharply, and equities are down sharply as well, and the grains are just along for the ride as of now.
So on the grain side, Zach, do you think that in the immediate future, then most of the trade will be focused here on the oil price, kind of what's happening there, and just war news in general?
I don't know if focused is necessarily the word. I mean, I think that we've got a lot of things to focus on here as we look. Of course, we had that prospective plantings report earlier this week, and a lot of changes to happen as far as waiting to see what happens. Whether fertilizer is as hard to come by for those folks who have not gotten that taken care of. If that continues to be an issue, that'll be something. But I think that just from a money flow standpoint and a money flow standpoint, I think we're going to continue to see the effects of the conflict in the Middle East weigh on the grains, either in a positive way or a negative way. I will say, for as much positivity as we've seen in the crude oil futures, we're up 11.29 right now in the front month. For corn to only be up 2 cents right now, that kind of hints at maybe a little bit of a divorce going on there between the two, and perhaps that's just traders realizing that this war and the crude oil futures are very headline driven. But I think money movement in that respect is going to continue to affect the grain markets in a big way.
Your local radio station brings you the local news you depend on. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network complements that with ag news, weather, and market updates tailored for Iowa's farmers. Together, we deliver the best of both worlds, local connection and industry expertise. It's all to keep you connected with the heartbeat of the heartland. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, connecting rural Iowa with the news that matters to you.
Back on Iowa Ag Matters, and we know we're in a tough situation right now with the farm economy, and farm bankruptcies are a thing to be worried about. We also got some good news from the EPA last week. Senator Chuck Grassley talked all about it in his weekly Ag Call.
Farm bankruptcies are on the rise, including in Iowa, where I'm told 18 farms filed for bankruptcy last year. That number doesn't give the full picture. While some farms are sold off, other farms have started. I suppose more accurately, in most cases, probably some farmers buy land and get bigger. The land isn't going to sit idle, though. However, the fact remains, input costs are high. Corn and soybean markets are way down for a few years now. I think right now farmers are losing $1.10 bushel on corn. Soybeans about $2, maybe $2.50. Last year I said the best thing the administration could do to address unstable prices during trade negotiations was to raise the renewable volume standard obligations, RVOs for short. President Trump and Administrator Zeldin did just that by announcing record high volume requirements that EPA says will bring $10 billion to rural communities. I want to thank the president for honoring farmers by having the lawn outside the White House filled with family farmers during that announcement, but also because it was Agricultural Week that we recognize every year. So what the president announced will support Iowa family farmers, soybean crushers, biodiesel plants. At the USDA, Secretary Rollins is working to support the family farmer by increasing domestic fertilizer production. Farmers benefit from more supply and they would benefit from more competition as well, which is what my Fertilizer Research Act would study, and I hope I can get that legislation passed. I'm also glad to see that the president continues to push for passage of a 5-year farm bill and E15 legislation, and I think both of those were announced Friday when the president spoke to the large gathering of family farmers. So, you know, I'm going to keep working until we get these two very big priorities over the finish line.
Stay up to date with the latest in the ag industry with Agribusiness Matters from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Each weekday, we bring you the latest advancements in farming, from new precision ag technology to cutting-edge sustainable farming practices. Agribusiness Matters is also your source for the most relevant ag news, policy discussions, and insights that are shaping the future of agriculture. Tune into Agribusiness Matters on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
In rural Iowa, you need reliable information. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network brings you ag-specific content like market trends, weather outlooks, and policy updates that matter to your operation, while your local station brings you community news and consistent updates on what is happening in your area. It's a partnership built for the challenges of rural life. Your farm, your local station, and your friends at the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters. Find us online at iowaagnet.com.
Time to run down those cash corn and soybean bids here on Iowa Ag Matters on this Thursday, the 2nd of April. I'm Dustin Huffman. Taking a look at the elevator bids, only a couple making switches. Let's run down the prices. ADM Burlington 12 cents under on corn, $4.46. Soybeans 35 cents under, $11.37. Cargill Eddyville 17 cents under on corn at $4.41. New Co-op Algona 44 cents under on corn, $4.14. Soybeans 75 cents under at $10.97. Ag State Sheldon 30 cents under on corn, $4.28. Soybeans 81 cents under at $10.91. Ag State Alta 42 cents under on corn, $4.16. Soybeans 76 cents under at $10.96. At Cargill Cedar Rapids, they're 14 cents under on corn at $4.44. Soybeans 25 cents under, they're at $11.47. And the corn facility will be shut down for its annual maintenance from the 10th to the 17th. Five-Star Co-op Nashua 32 cents under on corn, $4.26. Soybeans 65 cents under, $11.07. Lincoln Way Energy Nevada 24 cents under on corn, $4.34. ADM Des Moines 30 cents under on soybeans, $11.42. New Co-op Red Oak 34 cents under on corn, $4.24. Soybeans 70 cents under at $11.02. Mid-Iowa Cooperative Green Mountain 48 cents under on corn, $4.10. Soybeans 80 cents under at $10.92. New Co-op Sheraton 35 cents under on corn, $4.23. Soybeans 70 cents under at $11.02. Walk-On Feed Ranch 42 cents under on corn, $4.16. Soybeans 60 cents under at $11.12. New Co-op Glidden 42 cents under on corn, $4.16. Soybeans 75 cents under at $10.97. Innovative Ag Services Farley 45 cents under on corn, cash bid $4.13. Soybeans 74 cents under at $10.98. And finally, at Cargill Muscatine, they're 20 cents under on corn, $4.38. Soybeans 43 cents under at $11.29. And they will be closed tomorrow in observance of the Good Friday holiday. In fact, markets are closed tomorrow as well. Check with your elevators for their operating hours. Cash corn and soybean bids are subject to change without notice. Always check with your local elevator when making sales to obtain the most recent price. That's been a rundown of your elevator prices here on Iowa Ag Matters. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us.
Stay informed with the closing market report from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, your essential summary of the day's market activities and their impact on the agricultural economy. Join us for timely updates and expert commentary on commodity prices and market trends with trusted ag market analysts from around the Midwest. Tune in every Monday through Friday on your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate for your daily market recap and insights to stay ahead in the ag economy.
You're listening to Iowa Ag Matters here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. We know that last year, disease pressure, fungal disease was a big problem for the corn growers in this country. And of course, we had our issues in the Midwest. What are the lessons we took away from last year and how do we apply them to this year? Riley Smith finds out more with Ryan Schnoes of Pioneer.
Talking with Ryan Schnoes of Pioneer, and looking back now at the corn performance from last year, it's a very interesting year in 2025 for the corn side of things, especially with the rather unexpected continuance of the southern rust in Iowa. We know that was a huge yield robber. As we look back on 2025, what were some of the biggest lessons learned on the corn side of things?
Yeah, I would say probably the biggest thing that we learned was that Next to Solutions made both corn and soybeans more resilient. Whether that was to any temperature stress you may have had, or just it even seemed to help where we had the disease pressure. It helped with keeping some of that plant more efficient to where it could handle that disease. Even though, yeah, I agree with you, that southern rust was really one of the main culprits for a lot of somewhat limited yields across the state this last year. But we learned a lot. We had a lot of testing that we did, and we feel much more confident in our product recommendations going into 26 to help farmers extract more value from that bag of Pioneer seed going into what's going to be a little bit of a challenging commodity.
Yeah, and we know that looking ahead to this year, that southern rust isn't necessarily extremely on the radar because last year was really more of an outlier with how much it stuck around. But when we do look at the things that continue every year, corn rootworm, tar spot, all those things that stick around. How are the Pioneer traits handling those disease pressures and even, like you mentioned, the environmental pressure as well?
Well, I'm probably not the best person to talk to you about disease pressure with Pioneer hybrids specifically. What I can tell you for growers that are challenged with rootworm issues, we do have a really neat new offering in our speed box that contains a high pura button in it. And what that does is that gives you another mode of control for that tough rootworm acre. And the beauty of the C3 plus high pura speed box bale is that layer of protection continues to grow with the roots throughout the year. So for growers that are going to raise corn and maybe they've had issues in the past or they want to be proactive, we've got a great solution that we're just releasing coming out to the growers for 2026.
And let's touch more on that because I know it's interesting, pretty easy and convenient application method. Talk about how that box works.
Sure.
and just the ways that it really just helps that farmer get done efficiently and more easily.
Well, we call it the speed box partly for a reason. We know that efficiency is big for our producers, especially in Iowa. And we know that, if you can get across more acres quicker, generally that helps to, increase yields. We know that earlier planting has value. So the beauty of the speed box is if you have a planter, it's as simple as dumping it in just like you would with your standard talc and graphite. Obviously, there's some biocapsules on top that you deploy, and then you shake that pail for 15 to 30 seconds, and then you can dump that whole pail right into your central field planter, just like you would talc and graphite. And there's also a little coffee scoop in there if you happen to have individual row units. And the beauty of it is, it's as simple as just putting it in, and because the speed box has ion lock zinc, that's what is a positive charge. The seed is negative, and so that helps the product adhere to that seed. And so as you go and you start planting, you can feel confident that you've got the prescribed amount of product on each individual seed as you lay it in the furrow.
And like you mentioned, there's that convenience of not only using the speed box, but also getting that onto your planter and just kind of having that on there, because it's, like you mentioned, very easy to get that started, and you can be using it pretty quick, right?
Absolutely. It's you walk into your Pioneer sales rep, and within minutes you could be walking out with that speed box pail and be planting in short order. So it doesn't require any additional equipment on your planter. A lot of people have in-furrow capabilities, but over the years, as farmers have upgraded planters and they've scaled up in size, some people have moved away from having that ability to do things in furrow. But they know that there's value in having that product, that early kind of jump start right there with your seedling and providing some of those essential nutrients such as zinc and iron, manganese, right there on that seed where it can access it without having to really explore with the roots. So that's one of the beauties of it is the placement is right there on that seed where it needs it the most.
and not only where it needs it the most, but when it needs it the
Correct.
most. There's been so much talk recently about not only making sure that you have those nutrients available to the crop, but in a way to where it's there at the time frame that they need it. And like you mentioned, that zinc, that manganese needs to be there right at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, timing is critical, right? A lot of things that we do in agriculture, if we're a day late, we might be $1 short, right? So being able to have it where you need it in the right amount is obviously, one of the key benefits of that speed box. Yes.
All right, Ryan, lots of great information today for anyone who wants to learn more about the speed box. Anything else Pioneer related? How can they do that?
Well, I think there's a couple different ways. First, you can go out to our website, pioneer.com, and we've got a section in there on Next Step. And there's a bunch of great 2-3 minute videos that highlight individual products, as well as really, why we're in this space. And it's really all to advantage our great Pioneer genetics and help the farmer make more money, stress less, and ultimately yield more. And then the second place they would go is just to reach out to their local Pioneer rep. And they can certainly get you more information. And I also have a team of innovation specialists that would be more than happy to help people with any specific questions.
Stay up to date with the latest in the ag industry with Agribusiness Matters from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Each weekday, we bring you the latest advancements in farming, from new precision ag technology to cutting-edge sustainable farming practices. Agribusiness Matters is also your source for the most relevant ag news, policy discussions, and insights that are shaping the future of agriculture. Tune in to Agribusiness Matters on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
Your local radio station brings you the local news you depend on. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network complements that with ag news, weather, and market updates tailored for Iowa's farmers. Together, we deliver the best of both worlds, local connection and industry expertise. It's all to keep you connected with the heartbeat of the heartland. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, connecting rural Iowa with the news that matters to you.
This is the Midday Market Update on Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Mark Magnuson, joined today by Brian Doherty of Total Farm Marketing for our Midday Market discussion. Brian, what's happening with the trade in the grains?
Grains are softer right now, and that's after trading higher this morning. Crude oil prices exploded in the front month, pulling grains higher, but currently corn down at 1.23 cents. May is the weaker of the contracts today. Beans down, same thing, a little bear spreading down 2 to 4 cents this morning. Then wheat prices, which had good gains, of 10 or more this morning, back to about steady right now, Mark. In Kansas City, up about 3 cents. The dry conditions in the west continue to prevail. Some scattered rain, but not nearly enough, unfortunately. But central Midwest, east, pretty good rain on the radar right now, and it's been a down week for grain. Corn, just what it's worth on the weekly change right now in July. Futures currently down about 5 cents for the week.
What's happening on the livestock side of the trade today?
Cattle continue to be cattle, which means higher. Started the day on a soft note, anywhere from 17 to 80 cents higher, as the April contract continues to lead its surge upward. Look at the feeders. They're mixed today. Milk prices continue to impress with solid gains of 14 to 25 cents today. So it just looks like new highs on the move for milk. Milk prices have not been this high for almost a year on deferred futures contracts. So some pretty impressive chart activity starting to develop on charts as well. So interesting day. Hogs, uneventful, down anywhere from 15 to 45 points right now.
What's the best way for our listeners to get in touch for more marketing information?
I'd ask them to just give us a phone call, 800-334-9779. Or if you want to shoot me an email, happy to fill those. Brian at totalfarmmarketing.com, and that's Brian with a Y instead of an I. So Brian at totalfarmmarketing.com.
Farmers, stay on top of your local market with Basis Matters from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Every day, we bring you the latest corn and soybean cash prices from inland grain elevators and river terminals across Iowa. Get the prices you need to make the best-selling decisions, no matter where you are in the state. Basis Matters connects you to the numbers that matter most to your farm. Tune in every weekday only on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network and make informed grain marketing decisions with Basis Matters.
May corn down 3 cents at $4.51 1/4. December corn down a penny at $4.80 1/4. May soybeans down 4 3/4 at $11.63 3/4. November soybeans down 2 3/4 at $11.52 3/4. May soybean meal down $3 at $3.15 May soybean oil up $1.22 at $68.33. Chicago wheat up 1 3/4 at $5.99 1/4. Minneapolis wheat is up 4 cents at $6.46. Kansas City hard red wheat up 3 1/2 at $6.17 1/4. On the Merc, April live cattle up 35 cents at $244.40. April feeder cattle down $1.15 at $369.60. April lean hogs down 38 cents at $90.55. April pork cutout unchanged at $98.90. Class 3 milk is up 7 cents at $17.56. That was a check of the midday markets on Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Mark Magnuson.
Well, we are back on Iowa Ag Matters and continuing our coverage of what's going on in the marketplace. It's time for some livestock analysis, and Zach Hooker of Comstock Investments rejoining the conversation with Mark Magnuson.
What's happening on the other side of the trade with the livestock?
In the livestock, feeder cattle futures and live cattle futures opened sharply lower this morning. Now, again, we're heading into a long weekend. We've got a short week here today with the Good Friday holiday tomorrow. And with, I think we're at 5 straight days of very impressive gains in the cattle complex. A little bit of a sell-off and some profit-taking. Weekend positioning is kind of to be expected, but we've also been slow to hear any cash cattle trade, which is kind of the fundamental reason that we need the support that we need in this market. We had some sales yesterday that looked like we maybe had some cash in the 242 to 245 range, but as far as direct cash cattle trade, that's been slow to develop. Packers have been hesitant to bid anything really above 240, and feeders by most accounts seem to be wanting 244 to 245. Now, today's action in the futures may cause feeders to give up a little bit of ground there, but as we speak, we're making new highs for the day. Currently sitting, April feeders are down 277, 367.97. May feeders down 257 at 365.42. April live cattle down 85 cents at 243.20, and June live cattle down $1.05 at 243.30. We'll have to see how that trade, how we trade that throughout the day, but I expect if we are able to get any direct cash cattle trade here sometime this morning, hopefully we can continue this positive trend that we've seen in the cattle complex. Then hogs, of course, are down as well today. They gave us a little bit of positivity yesterday, but unfortunately, when not to put all the blame on the cattle complex, but when cattle are down hard, hogs seem to follow lately. So that's what we're looking at this morning.
He is Zach Hooker. Head to Comstock.com to find more marketing information and resources. Zach, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Mark. You too.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
In rural Iowa, we know you're sold on your local radio station. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network partners with local Iowa stations to deliver the latest in agriculture news, including grain elevator prices, market reports, and ag policy news. Trusted local voices, trusted ag content. This message is brought to you by your friends at the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters.
Here on Iowa Ag Matters on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, Russ Parker will wrap up his conversation with Justin Moritz of BASF as they discuss Nemasphere from BASF and how to battle back against soybean cyst nematodes.
Yeah, and that seems to be kind of the process of thinking that's going on now is, what can we do past the genetic potential of the seed?
Yeah, and it will be a system. That's a really good. I think that's kind of the direction of where you're going, and we see it in that way too. We're still gonna have to do things to manage this in a systems approach. We're still gonna have to think about how we don't let this pest get ahead, and this is a new fight, and that fight to really change the game for us in terms of being able to do that.
Well, fascinating technology. So maybe another question, and I'm not sure if I know how to ask it, but what's kind of the timing? And I know it's a seed purchase, but what are some of the things that a grower needs to kind of look at as they consider, having this added to their stacked product?
That's a great question. I think the most important thing people can do today is know your number, test your fields. You can take SCN counts on your fields today. Get out, understand your fields. And when you do it, please don't just get the egg count. Get the pH of where you're pulling the sample and get the soil type. So that way you can go to the SCN Coalition's calculator and you can understand what the impact is in that field and on your farm. And that's the important part, because when we originally wrote guides, when the universities originally wrote guides around what egg counts meant to a damage perspective, those guides were wrote when we were getting 95% control out of the native traits that we were using, or better, PI88, 788, and Peking. But now today, as those native traits are starting to falter and we're not getting 95% control, we're getting more like 50 from PI88, 788. Those guides, that's a compounding factor. That's not a one-for-one in terms of what that means in terms of yield loss on your farm. So the SCN calculator is an excellent way to understand what that means in terms of potential loss to your fields and how you should be thinking about that as you move forward. And then what I would suggest is talk to the people that you buy your seed from, your seed partners, and ask them, will you have Nemasphere in varieties that we'll be able to purchase? And begin to understand what that looks like and how you begin to prepare, because it will be an excellent opportunity as a choice as we move forward.
Well, I'm with Justin Moritz at BASF, a wealth of information. If a grower wants to do a little bit more exploring, can you offer a few resources that they can check out?
Yeah, if you want to, so I'll give you two avenues. If you want to learn a lot about SCN and be able to get some broad knowledge, I would suggest today to continue to look at resources like the SCN Coalition, and those they're online, and we can get you that website. But if you want to learn specifically about Nemasphere, we have a website up today, nemasphere.com, where you can go in and sign up to continue to learn more about the launch of Nemasphere and about the things that we'll be talking as we bring it forward.
I'm with Justin Moritz. He's a trait technology specialist with BASF. And Justin, we thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
Your local radio station brings you the pulse of your community. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network adds specialized ag content to help farmers make informed decisions. From county fairs to national ag news, we're here to tell the story of agriculture to everyone who needs to hear it. Together, we deliver a blend of local community and ag industry-focused information that rural Iowa relies on every day. This message from your friends at the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network.
Well, that is going to bring us to the end of another episode of Iowa Ag Matters here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Reminder that the markets are closed tomorrow for the Good Friday holiday and underway again Sunday night after Easter celebrations have concluded. And of course, we'll keep you updated with more ag information throughout the day tomorrow, including another episode of Iowa Ag Matters. So definitely follow along with us at iowaagnet.com. You can also find full replays of the show under the podcast tab at the website as well. Thanks to Mark, thanks to Riley, and of course, thanks to you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow here on Iowa Ag Matters.